On the 12th day of Christmas, Timmins gave to me 12 plows blocked the highway, 11 Schumacher break-ins, 10 Chenet poutines, 9 Reds on Algonquin, 8 Rogers layoffs, 7 same arrested, 6 parking tickets, 5 massive potholes, 4 times raised the taxes, 3 new COVID cases, 2 new stars and thunder, and a rename of our ski hill.
What's the problem now? The video was too short? Do it one more time? Why don't you get Kinsman to do something for once? Fine!
12 plows blocked the highway, 11 Schumacher break-ins, 10 Chenet poutines, 9 Reds on Algonquin, 8 Rogers layoffs, 7 save arrested, 6 parking tickets, 5 massive potholes, 4 times 6 taxes, 3 new COVID cases, 2 more stars and thunder, and a rename of our ski hill. Merry Christmas!
I'm Mark Kinsman, of course, KINZ, and Jamie's on another camera somewhere in the building here. He's Klomp.
There it is. I always think it's weird. Now, it's extra weird, Kinsman, because you have this long opening, and I'm trying to figure out what my mannerisms should be. So do I smile? Do I
Hands
give
in
a
the pockets.
That's what? Hands in the pocket? I don't know if that's a good look on camera, but another great introduction. We're rocking and rolling. And I noticed right off the bat, you mentioned a bunch of podcast sites. Were you aware these sites existed 4 weeks ago before we started, or is this like new memory for you?
Podbean I knew, Apple yes, Spotify I just thought it was more of music, but I guess it's technically audio, so we would fit there as well. So if you do find the podcast, find us in your smartphone app store, and then you only have to download the KINZ and Klomp podcast once, and then every episode when it debuts, like it did today, every Tuesday, you'll get the ding, and you'll be watching us and listening to us.
Right, and now that we're on video, we have to watch your mannerisms, so I got to make sure like I'm sitting up, I'm not slouching. There's a whole different feel to this now, right?
I had to comb my hair. I actually had to put, a half-decent shirt on, no, stains.
You look good.
On the shirts.
You look good. Your every hair is in place, and I don't see any stains from this distance. So
we're doing okay
I think we're off to a good start.
Also want to send a shout-out to our main sponsor. He's a four-peater, and in fact, he's going to join us a little bit later on in the podcast today. Martin Piel from PADS Canine Protection and Detection Services. He is not only a four-peater, he wants to come here and try to stump us. He's one of the favorite Brits here in the city of Timmins, and he's going to stump us with, what is Martin saying? And you or I, Jamie, have to figure out what Martin's saying. He's bringing British lingo into our Canadian podcast here in Timmins.
I'm probably going to have no idea, but I can't wait for that later on. But you know how I like to kick it off, Kinsman? Local news, local stories from local people.
That's right.
I know what's up first because I have it written right in front of me. And look, I didn't even look down at my notes. My notes are here. I'm looking right at the camera. And I know what you're going to say. It's the big one coming up at the end of the year, right?
It is.
Well,
TADH Foundation and their 50-50 draw. Now, this morning when we were getting tidbits ready for the big draw or for today's local tidbits, part of the podcast, 216,000, I do believe now we're 220,000 and beyond. Still 8 days to grow to the end of the month to get even bigger and better. I predicted 300,000, which could still happen. About 10,000. If it averages 10,000 a day, we'll hit 300,000. And the draw again happens on the 31st. And if you get your tickets, $20, that's the best chance online. 60 chances at Timmins District 5050.
Now, is it bad that I had a meeting with my financial planner earlier on this week, which, it's my dad, I would be honest with you.
Okay.
I have a financial planner, and he says, things are looking kind of sour to end the year, but I tell him my financial plan is to win this draw, so all eggs in the basket, I guess as the saying goes. So if that comes through, it's going to be, what do you call that, a black year, right? In the black is
you're
good,
in
right?
the black, or you could be severely in the red if you're actually, dog-earing the chance to win. Obviously, it's going to happen for someone, like the 7 firefighters last month. Will it be Jamie Klomp. It could be myself. I've got 60 chances in there for the $20, and I know we're putting our money together through the friends here at Toon Hub and our staff. So we're going to have, I do believe, 240 chances. We're all going for the $20 60 chance deal.
We're going for the big one. If
Yes.
not, you'll see a GoFundMe for me for my hydro bill. So you may see that fresh out of the new year.
Did they take that as an excuse? Why aren't
don't
your
know.
bills paid? I was actually anticipating winning the
Right.
TADH 50-50.
That's right.
Probably
Well,
not. You don't want to do that. Have a backup plan just in case.
That's right. And I never
A few
even win.
100,000.
I don't even think I've won a free ticket before in any of these draws. So maybe they're just waiting for the big one for me. Okay, talking about the big one, let's talk about the big man, because earlier this week I seen news stories popping up that Santa Claus has been roaming the streets of Timmins. What's happening there?
Yeah, there's a mysterious Santa Claus. Well, not so mysterious, especially if you follow the Facebook page. No More. They are a local group here in the city focusing on putting an end to, perp and fentanyl from being distributed throughout the city. And this week, you've been seeing, a random Santa dropping gifts off to, just random kids, families, adding a little Christmas cheer, and they're behind putting all this cheer into the city, which I think is a great idea. Just, there's no reason why. It's just because. A lot of people thought it was the city doing this, but no, it's the Facebook group No More.
No More. Okay, I didn't know where you're going with that story at first, because when you talked about the drugs and then Santa Claus dropping off stuff, I'm like, this story's about to take a sideways turn, but it's not. Sending a good message, delivering cheer and gifts to the children, and we need it this year. We need Santa Claus more than ever right now.
We do. We need the magic of Christmas, and again, nothing better than seeing people having this random Santa from the local group No More. Follow them on Facebook. You'll see the pictures of, kids coming to the door and, picking up, whatever Santa's dropping off, seeing some great photos online. It's great to see the Christmas cheer. And again, it's to help out the families less fortunate, maybe going through a rough time, maybe ties. If you go through No More, it's a lot of stories about, families and people who have tied themselves to perp and the fentanyl in this city. So it's nice to see that, maybe some of the children getting these gifts that would not normally have, a Merry Christmas are going to have a Merry Christmas thanks to Santa Claus from the local group No More. Again,
No
you
More.
can find them on Facebook.
Speaking about No More, so we had a live show at the Vic this past weekend, comedy, rock and roll theater, and we were also celebrating with the Toon Hub group, and we also had a couple beverages. And when it came when it came to the last one, I looked at my girlfriend and I said we should stay for one more, and her answer was the same as the title of that group. She's like, no more. So I went home very safely. A wonderful evening, right?
It was a good time had by all. We had Take Two Theater was there. Of course, you were there providing some jokes. Paid us all to laugh at your jokes, but
Yes.
it worked because I got
I
free
noticed how you
bevvies out of
said
the deal.
some jokes. So not everything was a joke.
No, you put on a good show. And I saw some great posts. I think Josh, a part of Coldwater, put a nice post saying how awesome you were and the crew. And, Randy, a big thumbs up to Randy at the Vic. It's hard to host events in a COVID-19 times, but he does it. And, after our little lockdown, the gray provincial lockdown for a couple of weeks, he'll be back at it with more venues.
And Mitch Wilson had the toughest job of the night because we gave him an assignment later on in the evening. And in that part of the evening, people are just focused on having fun, right? There's been a couple beverages come to the table, removed from the table, and come back. And he had the job of bringing a piece of paper like an assignment to people and explain what to do. It was a tough job.
He kind of, got himself unraveled a bit.
Right.
Bit of a tangent. Explaining things and ended up
Mitch is
too long
people
to
pleaser.
explain. He likes to get to the point, but he takes the longer route.
Yeah, he did a good job.
No offense, Mitch.
Do you know
Mitch
that
is a great guy. Actually, Mitch is joining us a little bit later on
yes,
the podcast.
and Mitch
today.
has been hosting my show since day one, so he could do no wrong in my eyes, Kinsman. So let me tell you something here. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Okay.
Humongous. I am talking humongous ending to The Mandalorian this week. Okay, it's Luke Skywalker, and that's not. I'm not breaking anything here because if you're a Star Wars fan, you know. I was watching at 1:30 in the morning at my house. Saw Luke Skywalker looking like Luke Skywalker from 1986, and I jumped up. So that tells you a little bit about how cool I am. Sitting on my couch, bag of Doritos goes flying. But speaking of stars, last week, Kinsman, and I'm gonna have to blame you for this.
And it's still happening.
You hyped me up on this Bethlehem star, right? These planets colliding. I thought it was going to be like Armageddon, and I go outside in the morning and at night, and all I see is clouds and snow. So what's happening here?
800 years ago, they had the first, or I guess not the first, the last Star of Bethlehem. And if you watch any of the manger scenes, the big star that's shining bright, it is Saturn and Jupiter, where they align in the sky at the same time. And for the past month or two, NASA and everybody's been, bombarding Facebook feeds saying, on the 21st of December, you're going to see both these planets on top of one another. Obviously, Jupiter very bright in the sky. Saturn comes on top of it, even brighter. There you go. You've got your Christmas star. My question is it really called a Christmas star if they're two planets? Maybe 800 years ago, they didn't know that what planets were.
I must have to go back to the podcast last week because I thought you said planets colliding. I'm thinking like a Death Star.
It looks
explosion.
like they're going to collide. It looks like.
Looks like. Okay, so I wasn't paying attention. So I expect to see some booming light. I saw nothing, so I guess I missed it. Won't be around in 800 years, but there it was. I guess it's gone now, right? It's not coming back?
You're going to start, as you saw them getting closer to collide or making it the illusion that they were going to collide to make the brightest star, they're now starting to separate once again. And again, 800 years. Had it marked on the calendar. Didn't want to miss it this time. And, of course, it snowed the morning of. In the nighttime, I do believe we had more snow. I don't even think there was a break. Anybody see the Star of Bethlehem, the Christmas star? Anyhow, if you missed it, mark it off. December 21st, 2820 is the next event.
There it is.
Leave it in the will for future generations.
That's right. I'm more impressed on the star in that Christmas tree by Norman Street. Kerr Crane, right?
Yes,
that's the star.
Kerr Crane.
Now, I did send him a message seeing if we get like our faces on top of that star for next year.
Hasn't replied back.
No reply, and I don't blame him. Maybe that's a little bit egotistical of us, but anything's worth a shot, right?
It is.
The spirit.
Do you think Logan? I've got Logan on my Facebook page. Yeah. Logan, how about getting our faces or the KINZ and Klomp logo at the top of the crane? He's probably going to say no. I can guarantee his answer when he replies back to that.
I'm looking at your sheet here, and I see your next point, and you're really going to strike me in the heart again here, Kinsman.
What's that?
Because gift wrapping. Now, hopefully you are not going to tell me you're a good gift wrapper.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm terrible.
What's your dilemma?
My dilemma is I can't get the nice little points. You know, when people there's people that have the knack for it. I don't have the knack for it. I don't know if it's normal to go through the rolls of the paper and go through an entire roll in 3 gifts. I was starting to wrap things as we get closer to the big day. And I'm, running out of space. It's, you think you have enough to cover. I think it all comes down to math. I was actually terrible at math, so it's showing that I'm terrible at wrapping. And again, probably one of the reasons why we go for the gift card, the gift bags. We just get lazy and, maybe throw out the gift cards for Christmas because we can't wrap. How about you?
Well,
you terrible at the wrapping?
I have a question. When did the gift wrapping with the newspaper leave us? Because I remember that was in existence before, right? You didn't have to buy gift wrapping, and some of this gift wrapping paper that's out there, it's more expensive than the gifts.
It is.
So we used to have the newspaper, so we skipped out of that. No, I just do it with one tape. I just bundle it all around like this, one tape around, because at the end of the day, right, people just want to see what's inside, right? It's inside that matters, Kinsman, not what's on the outside.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, that's right.
You could just hand the kids, like my kid is a Houdini when it comes to what's underneath the tree. My oldest, 4 years old, Ethan, there was a big box underneath the tree. He goes, Papa, that's got to be the race car track.
He knows right off the
He
bat.
knows exactly what it is, right? So which one is he opening Christmas morning? It's going to be the race car track. How did he know it was a race car track? I don't know. He just said, I think I can feel the little car. He actually, he goes through and actually feels the package and knows exactly what's going to be underneath the tree.
It reminds me
Smart kid.
when I was young and dating, when they said, Jamie, you're very nice on the inside. On the outside, a couple adjustments needed.
That's like saying I drew it with mittens on back in my art class.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the day, a polite way of saying you're terrible at arts, but we really can't say that, or else HR or someone's parents going to be after us.
Yeah,
right?
you don't want to offend anyone.
No.
So we're both not good gift wrappers, but we still got to go through it this season. But guess what's happening?
What's that?
You've returned to the Timmins Rock.
I did.
And are we still winning upon your return, or did
We're
you
winning,
jinx them?
yes. We've had a few losses here or there, but you got to give the guys a lot of credit. NOJHL, I do believe, one of the only leagues that are playing during COVID times. And the NOJHL going to skate into the Christmas break after putting together a pretty good COVID style of play for the players and the team staff members' safety. I can't recall anybody, getting COVID, and the way they've designed it, where the team plays their opponent 6 times, where we started off the season playing the Rayside Balfour Canadians out of Chelmsford. And we finished off that series 5 wins, 1 loss, and now we're just about to wrap up Hearst. In fact, they've got a game tonight at the MAC to wrap up that 6-game COVID mini-series. And again, we're leading that series. Kind of odd. You're thinking, well, are they going to get bored playing the same team 6 times? Again, It's for COVID, and you don't want anybody to, get ill. So they said, you know what, let's have their COVID bubble for that 6-game stretch, and then they take a 2-week hiatus before they go on to their next opponent.
So you haven't jinxed them.
Haven't jinxed them yet.
Haven't jinxed them yet.
No, and a good chat I had with Riley Robitaille, who never gets penalties, by the way. In the past few games, I've seen him in the penalty box. I said, what is this? I said, I never see you in the penalty box at the McIntyre Arena. Anyhow, we had a chat during one of his penalties, and he says, do you find it weird that we're playing the same team 6 times? And I asked him the same question. I said, is it odd playing the same team 6 times? And he goes, no. He goes, here's how we're tackling this. Our coach, Corey Beer, who's one of the best coaches in the NOJHL, states we're going to treat all these 6-game miniseries as a playoff bubble, right? Because you got to win 4 when you get to the playoffs. So out of these 6, their mission right now is to win at least 4 of the 6. And right now they're on pace. With a win tonight, I do believe they can go, I think it's 9-3 into the Christmas break.
So as a Leaf fan, you may not know what winning 4 games in a playoff series means.
we can't get out of round 1.
Right.
Being a Leaf fan, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Leafs are bad, but not as bad as the Ottawa Senators.
Okay.
Haven't been to the playoffs in a while.
Listen, consistency is at the bottom every year, my friend.
That's right.
And they got that locked and stocked. But good. It's good. It's good to see the Timmins Rock doing well. We all know we want to be there in attendance, but that's the COVID lifestyle we are living right now. But I'm glad to see they're doing well, and Kinsman's back on the mic. Now, let's talk about a friend of ours, Rick Lemieux, one of the dance dads, Rick Lemieux, my son's instructor. Well, he's the leader of the Police Foundation's program at Northern College.
Former TPS officer here in the city
and
for
he
many
got
years.
some good news, right?
Yeah, he's got some very good news. TPS Constable Rick Lemieux now going to teach the DARE program. He has been when you think of the DARE program here in the city, you think Rick Lemieux. When you think of the Smile Cookies, you think Rick Lemieux. Now that he's out of police forcing, physically driving the cruisers and stopping crime on the street, he's now teaching it. So a couple good people got together. In fact, DARE Canada. Imagine getting this phone call. DARE Canada calls Rick Lemieux, and Mr. Henry Lorenzen have now given him permission to teach DARE here in the city of Timmins.
That's hot. I wonder with the DARE program if they would ever have the next step. So they teach you DARE when you're a certain age, a younger age, and then say maybe when you're 35 to 45, if there's a follow-up, to still see if you're living the DARE commitment you made.
To see if you're still following the steps
that
Rick taught you way back in the day.
Yeah, well, maybe Rick will implement that, being a new leader with DARE Canada, but congratulations, Rick. Also a fellow comedian. I don't know if he's as funny as me, but Rick is a pretty funny guy, and he just headlined a show last Saturday You know what? I promised I wouldn't be using my hands this much this weekend.
But you are.
Or this week, but it's already come out. So listen. That'll be a resolution. For
The whole video thing
another
is
new
still
year.
still
Right.
weird to
Jazz hands, Kinsman.
get used
jazz
to.
hands. Look at me. Hey, I'm looking at you. You're not even wearing your Christmas sweater.
No, I
this is
didn't
our
put the Christmas
show.
sweater on. I know this is the Tuesday before Christmas, and all through the house, obviously, no clean Christmas shirts.
No clean.
Right.
You're not going Grinch on me, are you?
No, I'm not going Grinch.
Good man.
I did bring my Santa hat.
You did.
Yeah, I do. It's
Well,
down on the bank.
Next segment, you gonna throw it on?
I might put it on next segment.
It's pretty hot in here, though. I'm already regretting this decision of the 2 layers of shirts in here.
Can I go back to Rick there? There's an interesting point on the DARE program. Because
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a great partnership with Larone's,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great partner here in the city, the Timmins Learning Center, and they're offering the program in both French and English. If anybody's interested in taking the DARE program, they're going to teach this. Also, he wanted to put out a big thanks to the Timmins Charitable Gaming Association for helping fund this great partnership with himself, Rick Lemieux, and the DARE program here in the city, which I think is amazing.
That's right. And maybe we'll get Rick in here one day, and we'll hear
On a
it
future podcast,
from his
yes.
own mouth. Now, Rick's doing a real good job all around, big supporter of the community. We absolutely love Rick. Now, back to the Timmins Rock thing. You mentioned, how do I say, Chelmsford? Did I say that correct?
Chelmsford, Rayside, Balfour, Canadians.
Okay, but
yes.
Chelmsford. So I often, when I drive through there, you know where I stop? Dairy Queen. You know,
Every time.
I like a milkshake in the winter. Is that odd?
No, it's not odd.
Or I guess there it's a blizzard, right?
Down there's the blizzard. Have
Dude.
you ever had them tip the blizzard upside
I knew you
down?
took my line, Kinsman. I was going to do the tip.
And it's not quite settled. You can always tell the newer people that have,
Right.
where they've been taught, here's how to make the blizzard, and then you got to show the person how, the customer, how thick it is, and then you put
Have you ever
that down.
seen it come completely out, or it holds?
It almost came out at one point. I think it was a hot summer when that happened.
You look like a Smarties Blizzard guy.
No,
Did they
I'm the Oreo.
You go there with the classic. I'm a score guy.
Oreo or Reese's Pieces. If they've got anything Reese, I will get Reese.
Have we ever had a Dairy Queen here in Timmins?
At one point we did. You know where Holiday Inn is? At
Right.
one point, before it was the Max, it was a Max, and now it's obviously the hotel.
The
But
Max with
before
the
the Max,
big
it was
triangle roof?
The triangle red peak
Oh,
was
yeah.
an old Dairy Queen, and then I do believe they I don't know how you cannot, have a Dairy Queen, not be successful, but apparently it didn't. And that's where you've got the likes of the Pine Dairy Bar who, do very well on Pine. And
I'll tell you a secret.
great places here in the city.
This is about my hometown in South End, Porcupine. We used to have 2 Max. So get this. You go out of the Max, you get yourself a 2-liter of Pepsi. Then you realize you forgot to buy a lottery ticket. No problem. You can walk right across the street, and there's another. We had 2 Max side by side. We were really balling back in the day in South End. Did you know that?
Back in Sopo.
Yes, that's right. Back-to-back Max. Now there's only one. I think they're called Circle K.
It's Circle
But
K's now.
Chelmsford, and then I was thinking Sudbury, they're pretty close, right?
Yes, they are.
They were shooting the new Resident Evil movie down there. I don't know if you follow Resident Evil, but they had parts of the city decked out as Raccoon City, which is the fictional city for the movies, and I think that would be pretty awesome. If we ever had to change Timmins, what would Timmins be? I don't know if it'd be Gotham City like you see in the Batman movies, but what do you think Timmins could portray in a movie? It would have to be a wilderness movie, I guess, right?
Yeah. You'd have, probably the star of the movie for a Timmins-based movie. I'm
Right.
going to say Harrison Ford.
Right. Harrison Ford?
Maybe
You're
Harrison
thinking
Ford.
in
In a
Indiana
canoe.
Jones?
Indiana
in
Jones
Timmins?
and the Temple of Doom.
Right.
Which he's actually getting up there in age. He's actually going to film, I think, the 5th Indiana Jones.
Is it the
What would they
fifth or
call that?
sixth?
Indiana Jones and My Depends Are Doomed.
Oh, my God. Were you,
Remember
think,
Harrison
were you
Ford?
thinking of that joke all day?
No.
You just pulled that out
That's
of your
just
head?
quick wit.
You impress me more every single week. So I was thinking the other day,
What's that?
Eventually the movie theaters are going to be closed here in a couple days, but for the last little while they've been reopened. And I remember I used to go to the movies by myself, and I am a big snacker. if you can't tell. I'm a big snacker. But is there any
I'm
more?
a bigger snacker.
You're a bigger snack. You're always
Yes.
trying to one-up me, but fair enough. I will give you that. Is there anything more embarrassing or a low point in life? And I've done this. So I'm the poster child for this. Going to the movies yourself, fine. Buying the big tub of popcorn, the big drink, and finishing it all, Twizzlers included, before the previews end.
That happens far too often,
Right.
especially when you get the big, ginormous pop. You're like, I'm just going to get this, and I'm going to sip on it during the previews, which never happens, and then you have to take a pee right in the middle of the best part of the movie, which is usually the opening because you need to go. Then you're trying to think, there's, where is a good spot to go? They actually have that online. I think
There's an app for
you
that,
could
yes.
find where the movie breaks are, and I guess the most boring part or the least suspensed part,
Right.
you actually take the time to go relieve yourself and then get back, and you haven't missed a thing.
Every time I step out to use the washroom at the movies, I always hear the biggest laugh or the biggest, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And then, I don't know, can you go back and ask your partner, whoever you're with, if you're with someone, what happened? That'd be rude in a movie theater. Because
It would be rude.
You get the library, right?
A lot of the hushes, or when you're asking the person, or you're with someone who's seen the movie, and you're getting them, they're filling you in on what's going to happen. I don't like being teased, or they say, hey, the best part's just around the corner. I don't like to,
Right.
if you're watching a movie with me, don't spoil anything.
Don't spoil it.
Nothing worse than a spoiler.
And here I spoiled the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, but nonetheless, okay, I got one more question for you before we
Okay.
get into our guest, Mr. Martin Piel.
Martin Piel from
What-
TADH Canine Protection and Detection Services. And again, we're going to try to find out what Martin is saying, because Martin said some lingo ahead of today's podcast, and he's like, did you bring your brolly? It must have been a wet day in the city of Timmins, because a brolly, I did not know, is British for the umbrella. So I said, you know what, do you have any more weird sayings? Or maybe not weird for us, but it's his normal lingo. So we're going to get, what is Martin saying? And we haven't prepped any of this, so Jamie and myself, Jamie, you and I are going to try to go through the list of Martin's, what is he trying to say?
Okay. I'm going to get to my final question before we
Okay.
get to Martin. So we've had a pretty fortunate winter, and I say fortunate weather-wise.
It's been warm.
I know if you're a skier, if you're a sledder, you want the snow to come, and I understand that. Particularly weather, if you like warm, and I like warm. My question, here's my conflict, Kinsman. What do you wear in this weather? You can't wear a parka, it's too hot. You can't go shorts because you look ridiculous. Is there some happy medium? You can't wear fall weather because then you get soaked in your boots.
You get soaked.
So what is the
dampness
story
gets
here?
through you. You need at least a pair of long johns, maybe
Long john.
a pair of sweatpants,
Hold
maybe
on.
2 pairs of socks.
People, you wear long johns. Say if you're going to Walmart, and I see you at Walmart, can I predict that you would have a pair of long johns on?
Probably not. No.
Okay. So that
Just
maybe
a pair,
bad
just a
advice
pair
there.
of sweats.
Sweats.
Normally. So a pair of sweats, maybe
Okay.
an extra pair of socks, my mitts. I always liked I was always the hockey player, so I wouldn't want anything constricting the hands because it would screw up the wrist shot. I used to have the best wrist shot back in my day,
Right.
and you could never, it'd screw up the passing and everything else. So my hands, I would actually want them to freeze. But then again, back in the day, we had hot shots. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those
I know what hot shots
shot
are.
packets.
All right.
You put those into your hands and your gloves, and your hands would be nice and warm. I don't even think they do that anymore.
You know what I like about the winters, because you add the addition of a coat, and with the coat comes the addition of pockets. Because in the summer, when you got keys, when you got wallets, when you got cell phones, you got to stuff them in your short pockets. I don't like that. It's very it's not a nice feeling. It's bulky. With the winter, boom, everything goes in the coat pocket. But now I'm at that dilemma. Do I wear the coat, have the pockets as a benefit, and be hot, or do I just carry my stuff around? I'm really stuck, and I was hoping for your help.
Well, normally you'd put it into the pants, but yeah, you don't want to have anything restricting.
Yeah.
So normally you'd have a little bag, or for our case,
bag.
you'd show up in the vehicle and leave everything in the trunk. Of the
Are you
car.
telling me to wear a fanny pack? Is that where this is going?
I've never worn a fanny pack.
I would
no.
wear a fanny pack. Okay, so maybe
You
I'll
would
go.
wear a fanny pack?
I feel like Mitch Wilson owns a fanny pack. I'm going to check with him.
Well, we'll
after the
ask him
show.
when he joins us a little bit later
Yeah.
on in the show.
All right. So, what do you think? We bring Martin in here?
I think so. And we've got some excitement, part of episode number 4 for the KINZ and Klomp podcast. Not only do we have a sponsor for the 4th straight week in a row, Martin Piel from PADS Canine and Protection Detection Services. I should probably get the guy's sponsor title right, especially when he's sitting in the Tune Hub studios. Martin Piel from PADS Canine Protection and Detection Services is joining us for this segment here on today's podcast. Martin, welcome.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good. And you know what's funny here, Mark? This is our first week doing a video podcast.
And we forgot to tell Martin that it was a video.
Right.
And I didn't even get to the addresses.
But his hair looks very good.
Looks very good.
He's off to a great start.
What are they? A dashing young man joining
That's
us, and we wanted to thank you for, joining us for the past 4 weeks now. You're a repeat sponsor times 2 here for the 4th straight week. Moving on week number 5 for the KINZ and Klomp podcast.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's been a pleasure.
Martin's got a real interesting backstory. And I know you had tons of questions you're ready to burst out before he even got here.
Backstory. Hey,
What a story.
Well, obviously, you work with canines here
That's
in
correct.
the city. Can you take us, from where it all began to where you are now with,
Wow.
the protecting of the
Like,
city
is the
with
podcast-
dogs?
Is the podcast that long? Right.
We've got a good editing crew here at Tune Hub.
Back in the day, once upon a time. Okay, during my my military time, I actually joined as a musician, which was an exciting experience. Traveled all over the world playing music. And then from there, I got kind of a naughty boy, and I was sent to a infantry company as a disciplinarian punishment, which I enjoyed. So I ended up moving to an infantry regiment. And then from there, I ended up working with canines, and from there, it just became a passion.
And you've been doing it
I've
ever
been
since.
doing it since 1982.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're the top dog, no pun intended. Maybe I intended this. You are the top dog when it comes to training canines in all of North America. How did you become so good at what you do?
Bluffed? No.
A lot of BSing?
That's our style,
That's
Kinsman.
right.
A bluffer.
No, I wouldn't say I'm top dog. I would never say that anybody who trains dogs knows everything about dogs. Every dog's different. You learn a different way of training a different dog. They're just like human beings, right? Everybody's got a different way of doing things, and you've got to pull that comb the right way to make him work correctly. But how did I get there? Just through experience, connections I had, people I met up with in the U.S., worked closely with the United States Air Force together, the Federal Aviation Authority, and things just progressed from there. It just became a life. Working canines isn't a job; it's a way of life.
I'm very curious the story that brings you to Timmins, because it's hard
Oh,
for me to
boy.
see, like, as a little boy living across the oceans, or ocean at least. I think there's a couple in there that you think as a little boy, one day I'm going to be living in a small community called Timmins, Ontario. So
Well,
what
that's-
landed you here, and what keeps you
Well, it
here?
landed me a plane.
Yes, okay.
What keeps you here? You've
keeps
got
me, I can't
a
afford
young
to
lady
leave.
here keeping you here?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. No, I was on the internet, met Christina online, came over for a visit, and ended up staying. That was 19 years ago.
Oh, wow, there it is. Interesting.
Must be her baking. She we were supposed to give a thumbs up. Christina,
That's right.
dropped us off some cookies and some Christmas baking. So thank you,
She
Christina.
did make us all fat.
When you're out with the dogs in public, do people often want to pet the dogs?
All the time.
Right, and you can't, right?
And you can't do that.
No, and every time I walk in an office or do any searches, they say, "Oh, isn't he beautiful?" And I say, "Well, thank you so much." And they always say, "No, I mean the dog."
Right. the dogs, right?
But people get, it's almost like, the service dogs, which your dogs are.
That's right.
You don't touch them while they're in the middle of,
No.
working. Maybe
Isn't it-
playtime. Do you?
They
is there a-
socialize with the family and everything else, but the reason behind it is not because how can I put it? I don't want the dogs getting attached to being touched by strangers, so every time he's doing a search, he's going to get distracted because he sees somebody because he thinks he's going to get a stroke. So the dog's there to do a job. When the job is finished, then he gets his reward and his cuddles and his pets and his hugs.
And I was asking you, Mark, and now I can ask the man himself. On our previous podcast, you know, the dogs go through extensive training, but do they get trained on the basic tricks? You know, shake a paw, roll over.
I don't teach him any tricks.
None of those silly things.
No, they're busy enough as it is, and they're so high energy that they don't have the patience for it.
Now, it takes a certain type of dog to be a canine. Obviously, the German Shepherd, or is it a certain style?
I used
or
to
breed?
be all my life a German Shepherd guy. I used to breed German Shepherds back in Germany. I was a breeding inspector. I used to go around different kennels, making sure the litters were correctly documented, etc., etc. And now I bought my second Malinois, and I'm totally fixated on the breed Malinois, Belgian Malinois. They're so intense, intelligent, fast. They're full of character. Now I see a German Shepherd being like a slower version. So I'm really fixated on the Belgian Malinois now.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 4 presently.
4 dogs.
Yeah, a third is already been purchased from my new handler. That will be here in the next week or so. So we'll be up to 5.
It's funny that dogs are really, that I can think of, are the only, like, that's the only species that does this. Like, cats don't do this work, right?
No, you can't have.
You can't start
cat.
J6 Mark's K9 security to compete with Martin. It's only dogs, right?
I've never experienced it. Pigs do.
Okay.
The German
Pigs
police.
are pretty intelligent too.
German police actually use pigs for search because they search for truffles in the wild.
Okay.
So they use that ability that pigs have to transfer that to narcotics. The program went well, but it fell apart. So I'm not sure where they are nowadays, but I don't think they're carrying on with the idea.
Now, you do random searches on some of the mines here in the city and surrounding area. Now, they don't know when you're showing up with the canine. Is it a good day or a bad day when you see some of these, the miners, when they know that you're on the premises for a search, a random search?
Some are glad I'm there. Some are not glad I'm there. But otherwise, it goes well.
Do you get called in, or do you just show up, or do they call you because they suspect there's something in the premises?
I get booked prior, so the only people that know that I'm arriving is myself and the department that brought me in. So me being there out of the blue doesn't happen. It's always...
There's always a reason, and normally your dogs probably find that reason when you're on site?
Sometimes, yeah.
We were joking. I don't know if we were joking or not, but we were taking credits for Martin's hard work last week. We know that he's going to be very involved with the city with a new contract, and we said, listen, Martin is the podcast sponsor.
Yeah, fourth straight week.
And that I think that 4th week or that 3rd week really was the last straw that got him the contract. But right, so we were trying to toot our own horn. But congratulations, and tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing with the city.
We'll be enforcing the animal bylaws, so making sure everybody's licensed, walking the dogs on leash in leashed areas. We'll be giving out warnings at the beginning, those who are not following those bylaws, such as somebody walking around with the dog off the leash. And then we'll be just enforcing the animal control rules and dealing with strays. So we'll be picking the strays up, bringing them to the Humane Society, where they'll stay for 5 days and then eventually go to adoption, should they be adoptable.
Now, a lot of people online, when this tenure was granted to you, split between the Humane Society and now you guys taking over, or you and your canine team and crew, for the dog bylaws here in the city. A lot of people thinking, well, you're taking away from the Humane Society, you're actually helping the Humane Society out. Can you clear that up here?
We're still working with the Humane Society, so the strays, any injured animals, they still go to the Humane Society. We're only there to implement the bylaw. Nothing more, nothing less. So if an animal gets injured in the evenings or during the day, we're there to collect that animal, to give it first aid, and then transport it, if it's not on its deathbed, to the Humane Society. where then they'll receive veterinary service. Apart from that, we're not taking nothing away from them at all.
So there's one misconception that we do have to clear up.
What's that?
It's Martin's favorite breakfast sandwich.
The butty.
It's the
right,
bacon butty.
A bacon. See, I claim to know all, and I was trying the boast.
I
but
only got sausage because you were too tight-fisted to have bacon. So
hey,
that was
you
all
got
that
to
was
choose
there, right?
one meat at a time per customer when I'm running the roost. But it's a butty. Now, how do we spell butt? B-U-T-T-I?
Is it B-U-T-T-I or Y?
Yeah, I guess we could have went on the Googled that, but we didn't.
We didn't,
We
no.
We waited for Martin.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I
we
can
did.
give you a story.
Yes.
What's that?
What's that? One day, years ago, we was at Swiss Chalet and we went for breakfast on Sunday morning. And I run out of butter, or butter in Canadian, right? So I went to the counter and I asked the young lady, I said, excuse me, could I have some more butter? And she said, beg your pardon? I said, I would like some more butter. She says, I don't understand what you're asking for. Would you like a tea? I said, no, I want some butter. And this went back and forth for a few minutes. Eventually, she asked her colleague to help. She came over. She asked me what I would like. I said I would like some butter. Once again, she said, would you like a coffee? I said, no, some butter.
Some butter.
So then I said, I'll say it in Canadian, butter with a double D.
Right,
And then
right,
they
right.
understood
Butter.
what I wanted, right? So I do have problems at times. People don't understand the words I use.
Still.
So,
Yeah.
still.
The act.
It's
Well,
the accent.
it's the British, you know.
Well, they always say,
the
mine,
British
I love
lingo.
your accent. I said, I don't have an accent. You guys do.
we sound odd here. Now, if we went to your native land,
Then
we
we'll be all
would
over
sound
you.
strange.
That's
asking for, let's say, an umbrella, where it's not called the umbrella over there in
It's
in
called a
Britain.
brolly, right? A brolly.
It's a brolly.
A
brolly.
And how do you spell brolly? It's
Brolly.
Right.
It's slang we use short with. It's like when I first came here, went to a garage and asked for a wheel brace. And they looked at me and I said, a wheel brace to take your wheels off. They said, oh, you mean a tire iron? I said, no, I don't want to take my tires off. I want to take the nuts off my wheel. So it's the same as a spanner. I asked for a spanner. People look at me. Not many people know what a spanner is, but it's actually a wrench. You call it a wrench. We call it a spanner. It's all different terms. My bonnet stuck.
your bonnet stuck.
Yeah,
bonnet
so my hood.
Do you walk around saying your bonnet stuck there,
My
Kinsman? or
bonnet
what?
stuck. No.
I don't know. Like someone.
Knickers in a bunch. I know that one.
Right. There's lots. There's hundreds.
Knickers in a bunch. That's definitely a British saying.
Knickers in a bunch.
Yes.
Oh, don't get your knickers in a twist.
You're a football fan, and for Kinsman,
That's correct.
That's soccer, right?
Man City fan.
Okay, hang on. Look, Kinsman, I know everything. I'm showing Martin what I brought here today.
Would
You
break?
draw a Man City top.
You know it.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Look at that.
This. We want him to get.
Our guests walk
you know
away
what?
with something.
We
every
want him
time
to
here
sign
the
on
podcast.
again. So look.
How did you know Man City?
Oh, because I love Man City. That's my boy there,
Well.
Sergio Aguero.
Cool.
Yeah, they're off to an okay year this year, but
Yeah, you'll get better.
yeah, it will get better. But there we go. See, and it's not soccer. It's not soccer, Kinsman.
No, it's football.
It's
Football. And again, we look like a unicorn horn coming out of our foreheads over there saying, let's go watch a soccer game.
That's right.
Football is
Football.
the way to go.
Football, yeah.
So what's up next for your business? Obviously, constantly expanding.
We're always constantly expanding. We're always looking at new avenues. So we don't just stick in one criteria being security. We try, how can I say, we try to evolve around everything. So we do bylaw in Matheson, in Kirkland Lake. That was the first step. We took over the crossing guard contracts. So we supplied that service to the city. We supply the canines. We supply normal security staff. Now the animal control bylaw. So, and we're also training now First Nations, a unit up in Fort Albany, who've created their own security unit. So we've supplied them all their equipment, and we'll be commence training early January.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So what is the best way for folks to get in touch with you if they can learn a little bit more about your business, if they want to utilize your service?
They can go to my website, www.PADS Canine Protection and Detection Service, Facebook website. They can call me. They're more than welcome to come to the office once all this is over. COVID. Call me anytime. Just pick up the phone, give me a call, send me an email.
And you do normal, routine checks of neighborhoods. So let's say one house, wants to do this. You can get a bunch of houses. Do you find it's more of a group effort with neighborhoods to
It's
do
more
neighborhood
of a group
patrol?
effort rather than individual effort. So the response has been low on that part. So
But you do offer that service.
We offer that service, mobile patrols, residential and commercial. So, and it's not just they just drove by. It's actually documented.
You actually get out and check the premises,
That's
the doors,
correct.
make sure they're not ajar,
and it's all documented by GPS that we were at that location at that time. So they can't just say
Pretty
my
high tech.
dad was sleeping down the road there. He was actually out doing his job.
wow.
If this podcast keeps growing and we get world famous, Kinsman, Martin's
Then
going to
we'll
be our
do
personal
body-
security.
personal protection. That would be another avenue we can
That's it.
supply.
There we go. We already have them locked in. Keep that paparazzi
we
away,
certainly
right?
do.
Yeah.
All right.
But quite the resume. I'm blown away not only with the expertise when it comes to canines, because everybody looks at Martin Piel. Out of all the places on the planet, they look for you for the training right here in Timmins, Ontario. One line that jumped out. You worked for at one point for Your Majesty's Armed Forces.
That's correct.
Were you guarding the Queen's knickers? What happens with that one?
I was serving all over. So when I was 16, I joined the British Army. When I applied for the British Army, I wanted to be a transport driver like my brother. But they asked me, well, what did you do at school? So I said I played in the brass band. Well, you're going to be a musician. And that's what I became. I went to the Junior School of Music for 2 years in New York. And from there, I graduated then moved to my regiment, 1 KINZ. Then I went to the Royal School of Music in London for 12 months, did my degree. And then I got posted back to the KINZ, served with them a few years until I was a naughty boy. Ended up going to the Royal Irish Rangers, served with them, served in various places around the world, and then I became the Royal Army Veterinary Corps. Joined the Royal Army Veterinary Corps. After my service end, I was then in charge of the K9 unit. So we had a civilian paramilitary attachment, which worked under the British Armed Forces. And we did all the security K9 patrols within the garrisons, liaise between civilian police, military police. And that's how my life changed.
Pretty amazing story.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
To say the least.
Yeah,
it's amazing to have you as a person here in the city, but it's nice to have your expertise when it comes to protecting one's assets. And I'm sure a lot of the bad folk out there, they don't have good things to say about the canines, but the canines is one part of crime fighting that is very ideal in today's day and age. Obviously, with a lot of crime, you can just follow any of one of our Facebook pages here in the city. You know what people are up to, but it's nice to know that our assets, housing, businesses are now protected with PADS Canine Protection and Detection Services. With the likes of Martin Piel, is joining us for episode number 4 here for the KINZ and Klomp podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Martin.
It's been a pleasure, always a pleasure.
I want to move beside Martin because I feel
You
I'd
want
be
to move
in
beside
Well, I'm
me?
just thinking crime's
safest
probably a little
house.
light on.
the safest house.
Is crime light in your neighborhood? It's
I
got
can
to
leave
be.
my bike outside.
I
if
actually
I'm next door to
created
Martin.
a sign for my window because it's quite a rough area. And it says now protected, coming at your own risk, and it's got a big picture of my German Shepherd with his teeth open. But I was going to create a sign, this house protected with God and my German Shepherd. So if you enter either one, you're going to meet. But I thought that wouldn't be politically correct to do.
Awesome. So what's the formal way we say goodbye to our guests?
How do we say goodbye? What's a British way of saying goodbye to you? Maybe we can
British
try
way.
A British way.
See you later. Same as
See you
you
later,
guys.
alligator.
See you
Well,
later.
That wasn't as good as the other
See
ones.
you later,
Which
alligator.
one?
Like Brawley.
Yeah, I like
Brawley.
Brawley. See you later sounds Canadian.
I could
to
tell
me.
you put wood in though on your way out.
We got to go eat some of these desserts.
That's right. Once
Yeah.
again, thanks to your other half.
That's right.
She's keeping us well fed here in the studios right before Christmas.
If you go down with food poisoning, don't call me.
No, we won't call you. But it's great to have you here in our studios again. Martin Piel from Pad's Canine Protection and Detection Services over there on 3rd. What's the address again, Martin?
193rd Avenue. The old HSBC.
Used to be the Bank of Hong Kong.
That's right. It still is. No. I just don't have no money in there.
Yeah, no money in there. No. But if you give Martin a call and need your assets protected, you're going to help out a local guy here in the city. And of course, if you need training done, now people just can't call you for dog services, or can they?
They can call me for private classes. I teach privately. There's also Rosie and Timmins that teaches. I'm not saying one's better than the other one. One teaches one way, one teaches another way, but the end effect is both there.
You're the entire complete package.
And then there's what's it called? Caesar Milan. Psst, psst. I don't use that.
Pack leader.
I wish I was as rich as him and get on TV. I'd be on a fortune.
He's the pack leader guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Stay
to you
safe.
too.
Don't get drunk, because I will be.
And don't be carrying any weird items at any of the mines, because you just might have that unsuspecting visit from you, Martin Piel.
One never knows.
There we go.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us for episode number 4 here on the KINZ and Klomp podcast.
It's a pleasure.
And what a great guest it was having Martin Piel from Pad's Canine Protection and Detection Services here for podcast episode number 4 for the KINZ and Klomp podcast.
Yes.
Wasn't it great?
Martin's awesome but intimidating, but a nice guy, if that all makes sense.
He was a nice guy.
He has all the personality traits.
He does.
Yeah. Speaking of a guy with a lot of personality traits, we have our good friend Mitch Wilson back.
Yes.
Mitch got a lot of good compliments last week. Merry Christmas too, Mitch. People liked his millennial take, which makes it seem like, I guess, we're the boomer take there, Kinsman, or what?
Gen X. That would be Gen X.
The Gen X.
Gen X.
Notorious for just not really caring and just going with life.
Apparently,
right?
you're notoriously late. We were at the Vic the other night, and when you came in late, they said, "Oh, that's Mitch. It's the guy from Take Two Theater who said Mitch is always late to the party."
You know what? I could defend myself here, but this is going to get way off into the personal weeds. So move swiftly on from that.
When did it change from fashionably late to notorious late? There must have been a shift there.
I think that would be about the 4th time, Jamie.
Okay, right. I always miss on those anecdotes. So let's talk a little bit of local weather.
Lots of snow.
Boy, yes, that's what we could say about the weather. Lots of snow. We haven't had much, so are we all prepared for, what are we getting, 300 meters of snow? Or?
Well, I don't know. The forecast I saw just yesterday said 25 centimeters and 25 centimeters. I think Christmas Eve, 25 centimeters, 25 on Christmas Day. So if you've got a shovel coming for Christmas, it's going to be a great gift. Apparently, are we really going to get 50 centimeters of snow? I'm calling malarkey on the Weather Network.
Malarkey, you are really making us sound old. Like a young guy like Mitch would never say malarkey.
Are you kidding me? That's a fantastic word. I love an old timey pull out of the lexicon.
It's an old fashioned pull for the word BS, right?
Okay.
Good. It's Ottawa. Right, that's where I come from, the area.
Okay.
White Christmas. Some days we'd be sitting there, fingers crossed, hoping for the white Christmas. I've been here 2 years, 2 Christmases now, and apparently that is not an issue that Timmins has to deal with.
No, and obviously with 50 centimeters on the way, a shovel. I actually picked up a shovel, a good one of those ones with the bends in them. I don't know what kind of shovel you use.
Yeah, what does that do for you?
Going all out. And they sell for like $1,000 at the store, so they suckered me in there. I think it was like $50 for this thing. So a better shovel.
What does the curvature do for this shovel? I want to know.
It's an ergonomic bend, I think.
Is it?
It's good for your back, right?
A selling feature?
Must be.
I'm sure both work great, but I went for the one with the bend in it.
So guys,
the guy who created the bend is making money off it.
I have to tell you a story there,
What's that?
guys. So we depend on water, right?
Yes.
So guess what happened on my street today? I guess a water main, I think I said that right, broke. We were without water for about 8 hours. Extremely difficult process, man. No clean dishes, can't flush the toilet, couldn't have a shower, dogs couldn't have water, and I struggled with life today. No, You guys think you can survive 8 hours without water?
It makes you appreciate what we do have, right? Especially when there is a water shortage for a little bit. Now, was it a planned water shortage, or did something just erupt in the street? City crew had to show up. That's the reasoning. You didn't have.
Yeah,
any,
we had to wait.
Did you have some fair warning on this one?
Well, we didn't get a warning that the water is going to be shut off. But the one thing I observed is that they had the signage up that said the roads are closed, and there was 0% that were obeying that, just going in around the sign. So I thought maybe if we had Martin Piel there working the bylaws
with his canines,
a couple tickets would have been handed out.
People see the road closed, and it says, I think, for local traffic only. I think everybody just says, well, they're going to think I'm a local for a minute, picking someone up and then taking off. I think that's
I have a question for Mitch. Now, you pay debit, I assume, time to time?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, are you a tap guy now, or do you swipe the card?
Swipe?
Yeah.
What is this, 2007?
I know. Why
Like,
people
come
still-
on, man. No, we got the tap, except I don't. I got to do the chip move, because that's actually the move now, right? You got the chip in it.
Yeah.
So you stick that in the bottom of the machine, boom, punch your pin in. Way better than the swipe, which we all know. Like, we all use Tim cards still, right? How many times you got to swipe?
Okay.
Right, turn it, wait, other way, swipe up. Doesn't
You're
work.
still putting your card in the machine, though, right? You're not tapping
well,
it?
No, I tap, except for my debit. I'm not sure if I rubbed it on a fridge magnet or what. The tap doesn't work for that one. It still works on the
It's
Visa,
painful watching these people punching in their numbers because they forget them half the time. And it's just a tap and go, man. Tap and go. What do you think, Kinsman?
Well, when you're tapping, yes, your brain can kind of forget, typing in the 4-digit code, and then you're going along nonchalantly paying for things, tap tap tap. Then you finally get to a purchase of $100 or more, which the tap feature is if it's $100 or more, you need the physical password. How many times have you actually been there because of all this technology? You get there, I'm like, I don't even know my own password with all this technology. It's the same as using the thumbprint to get into my phone. I was asked the password the other day, and I couldn't get it, right?
It's not 1, 2, 3, 4?
No, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's not password. And I tried every other password, and, of course, it locks your phone afterwards. So you're trying to phone the company, trying to hack into your own place, and you give them all the information they need except for the password that you can't get, and that's the big stall.
Are you guys doing any Midnight Madness shopping? And yes, I'm recycling a joke I told on Saturday.
Midnight is in the next 3 days, or are we talking December 24th?
Well, maybe have you committed to Midnight Madness in the past couple weeks, or are you planning any Midnight Madness moving forward?
I went to Timmins Square today. It kind of felt like Midnight Madness.
Right.
Calamity is a word I would use to describe it. It was absolute chaos, and this was like 1:30 p.m. on a Monday.
It's because everybody's anticipating this gray provincial lockdown for the next 2 weeks, and everybody forgets, I need my 500th roll of TP.
So
That's
Mark,
another topic altogether.
do you get a better deal at 11:55 p.m. compared to 2:55? What is the lure of the Midnight Madness?
I think it's the leisure of being able to go past 9 o'clock, where if you had kids, if you have 2 people in the household, where I don't have the luxury of, just saying, okay, the kids are sleeping, I'm going to go to the store and pick something up at 9 o'clock, I don't have the luxury. But if, let's say, they're over at Grandpa's or, Grandmama's place, and you needed to go out, it's usually less busy, quote-unquote less busy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Color me confused. Are there actually stores that are going to be open at midnight tonight?
We don't know. We didn't do that much research. Midnight Madness is a term that's thrown around this time of the year.
Usually happens right now, right?
Yeah. But they had one in South End at the Giant Tiger last week. My parents-in-law went there. I questioned why, because they had the same products they could get earlier in the evening. But I guess some people do like that setup. Okay, so we're all nodding heads. So let me ask you guys a question.
What's
do
that?
you guys believe your horoscope, or maybe it's called the Zodiacs? I'm not sure. Do you believe it when you read it?
Maybe a little skeptical if, let's say, money's just around the corner and maybe I scratch a scratch ticket. Is that the money? Is there future money? Am I going to win the TADH 50-50? I don't know. It can mean a lot of things, but I am a little skeptic, but sometimes they are true.
I'm on both sides of this. On one hand, there's a lot of coincidences and all these things that end up lining up exactly with what they're saying about what an Aries does. And then on the other side, it's kind of like, okay, come on. You know, like there's a vague generalities that make it sound like you're going to get success and whatever, and never negative.
No.
Never negative. It's never like you're going to experience a fiery car crash this week. It's always some great success, beautiful women.
Some little bit of positivity
Yes.
in there to keep
Well-
to keep your hope. I think it's all gained and geared to keep your hopes up, to to liven one's spirit.
Right. Like you want to make money and you want to find happiness and you may go outside. And the negative thing is someone may disappoint you this week. So it's never the car crashes or the deaths.
No.
You guys want to read our horoscopes?
Let's read my horoscope. Do you have my horoscope?
I have your
think
horoscope,
mine.
Kinsman. I already got you planned. Here we go. You're an Aquarius, right?
Yes.
So you were born between January 20th and February the 18th?
I was. Do you need an exact date?
No,
or does it
let
matter?
me use
Okay.
my psychopathic powers.
do you
You're
think?
February 10th.
No, 9th.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah, that was pretty
Close.
good. Okay, Kinsman, your world is changing. Perhaps even your appearance is changing. You grew a white
Well,
beard.
this beard is actually kind of different. a
And
little scratchy.
your values and your life direction is changing because you're heading off to a new journey that will take you 7 to 8 years. You're going to be stuck with me for 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8 years. And that journey, of course, unemployment, 7 to 8 years. Will the podcast be going that long? Talking to Jeff Baldock, who's a staple here at Tune Hub, he said he sees this going a long way. So is that horoscope right? See where I get a little skeptical. This is actually, it's actually a good motivation booster because, everything has changed. You're hoping maybe 7 to 8 years. What do you think, Jamie? You're going to be stuck with me? We're going to be stuck in Tune Hub doing this?
We've talked enough about yours. Now let's get on to mine here.
Okay, what's
All
yours?
right, so I'm a Scorpio, November the 5th. Thank you very much. Back to the Future. That is the key date. Issues related to home and family are increasingly important to you. Okay, thanks for the generality. You will see changes that need to be made, including repairs and possible residential moves. That's not right, because I don't like to move and I don't like to repair anything. So mine's off. What about yours, Mitch?
I got Aries. Endings flow into beginnings for Aries natives this week. This is good news as you are natural at beginning things. This week, you're in the flow.
The flow.
Yeah, I don't
Your
know.
hair?
Yeah, maybe I got to tuck it behind my ears a bit more. But new beginnings. I don't know. Could be the carton of milk I opened this morning. Who knows, right? Like it could mean so many things.
Thumbs down. To me, it's a thumbs down for these horoscopes. So I guess they're a fun read.
Let me be fair. There is like 3.5 more paragraphs here, 4 more paragraphs. So I'm just gonna wait
yours?
I'm just gonna wait for a millennial
Type of
chick to
horror.
tell
You're
me
not
about
reading
it.
the ones that show up in the newspaper. Like you're reading a deep dive.
Well, I don't know. I Googled the horoscope for it today. Again, like I could be like, my buddy is a huge science guy, right? Huge science guy. And then he was telling me about all the horoscope stuff and saying, Mitch, well, you're actually, you know how you butt into conversations all the time? That's an Aries thing. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of true. And I was observing, kind of agreeing with it. And then I kind of clicked. I'm like, Rob, you've been a single guy for a bit. You're talking to too many ladies on Tinder. That's what's got you on the horoscope bug.
Okay. A little bit. So Mitch brought us some new segments this week. Some interesting stuff. Third voice of the podcast. We like what we heard last week. It's no longer his
brought him back.
audition.
No, he's here now. We're going to call it KINZ and Klomp, and sometimes Mitch with his quote-unquote millennial intake on a few things.
All right, what do you got for us, Wilson?
It's like the intersection of news and entertainment. I love going to get an actual news story that's just kind of stupid. So what would you guess is the most popular vehicle driven by people who get charged with a DUI?
Chevy Cruze.
Chevy Cruze.
A Reliant K car from way back in the day. No, I'm going to say...
That one went over my head.
You said the Cruze already.
Couldn't think of a second vehicle?
No, I'm just trying to think here. Maybe not Corvette. We're not in Corvette land up here with our potholes here in the city.
Oh, this is not Timmins specific.
Oh, not
this is
Timmins
this
specific?
is a survey of like 2.7.
I'm going to say a BMW.
Oh, okay, Mark's doing better than Jamie is on this one. So this is a study that was done, data from 2.7 million insurance applications, and turns out the number one vehicle for a total of 1 in 22 drivers for DUIs.
Yeah.
Dodge Ram 2500.
Oh, the Ram.
All right, I mean, come on. Now that I say it, like that was just right up that alley, right?
Do you need the hat and the white sunglasses to go along with that?
It's specifically Oakley's, absolutely. But that's not the only one. And while I pull this up here, I got the lowest And this is another one of those circumstances wherein stereotypes they just run correct right down the line. Not that everyone with the Toyota RAV4 is driving super responsibly, but that's number one on that list. The Hyundai Santa Fe and the Toyota Sienna, all the lowest for DUIs per driver. And then on the highest, if my thumbprint would work, I got the chart here. We got the Ram 2500, followed by the Chevrolet S10, then the BMW 4 Series in third place. Good job, Mark. Audi A4, Dodge Dakota, Subaru WRX, BMW again, 7 Series, Ford Ranger, Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra. And those are all anywhere between like 50% higher to 100 and some percent higher than the national average for vehicles. Now, the most interesting thing about that list in particular is you'll notice I mentioned the Chevrolet S10, I mentioned the Dodge Dakota, I mentioned the Ford Ranger, and the Silverado's a big one. I think that's what I got. But small trucks, yeah, if you see small trucks, it may be a drunk guy in there, so just heads up. Oh, and just as a all-around car to avoid, Subaru WRX, top of the list for speeding, and third on most accident-prone, and then again, sixth on the DUI list. So WRX, steer clear of those Subarus there. Wait, we don't have any Subaru. There's no Subaru dealership in town, right? We're not trying to line up for a sponsorship. Okay, we're set. Okay, good. And that's what I got for that one. I got a more personal question here, though.
Okay.
What's that?
Least favorite Christmas decoration? You got one of the you got your mistletoe, you got your wreaths, you got your.
I got this. It's now the Christmas bulb. It's not Christmas balls. It's Christmas bulb, right? That goes on the tree? Is it Christmas balls or Christmas bulbs?
It's bulb.
Bulb's the round thing
An
with the hook,
ornament
right?
bulb.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
it.
so here's why it's now this year. Because I had about 50 on my tree, and with 2 Great Danes, I'm at about -6 because they've
eaten them all.
They've destroyed them all. I'm constantly picking up the plastic pieces. Hopefully a hook doesn't go in their mouth for more vet bills. So they weren't on the top of my least favorite, but they've made it this year. What about you, KINZ?
The ornaments that come home. Nothing against homemade, the bulbs for the tree, but when you douse them with glue and then they all have that glitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. They're hanging on the tree, and now my hands have glitter everywhere, and everything I touch, there's glitter all over the house, all over the couch cushions, all over the, my little guy's shirts. I like them, but they're just a bit of a mess.
It might be this Santa hat because this thing is itchy.
Isn't it a bit itchy? It's a little warm.
Yes.
You cut the beard off here, as I still have the beard on.
You did buy me this hat, and I did defame it by cutting off the beard. But listen, you gave it to me. I do what I want for my own property, right?
That's right.
Yeah. What about you, Mitch? Where are you going with this?
Well, first of all, I want to say I vouch for the Christmas bulbs. Some of those things have more piercings in them than Johnny Rotten. And they just hung them right back up on the tree. It's like, what am I going to do? Buy another set? No. The Great Danes are going to have their way with them either way, so just let it happen. Don't ask, don't tell. And for me, it's got to be, and this is an unpopular opinion, the giant inflatable Christmas things on people's front yards. I see them all over the place, and God bless you for getting into the Christmas spirit, because this is a very special holiday in many ways. And so even seeing a Rudolph out there, I'm not mad at you. It's just aesthetically terrible. Aesthetically, it's just the worst. It's even worse. It's one thing if you got those and the lights going on. Some yards are just like, Christmas decorations, I can just buy one of these for Walmart, inflate it, and then that's it for my Christmas decoration.
Yeah.
No strings of lights or nothing. No. It's out of place. It's
you think
weird.
there has to be more to the inflatable? If you're just going to put the inflatable, that's a no. But what if you put the inflatable and you go,
lights
decked out for the entire, lights, strings everywhere, banisters are all covered, plus the inflatable? Does that change your mind?
No, I still maintain it is a tacky decoration. It should not be on your yard at all. Go all in with the wreaths, with the garlands, with the lights. My favorite is the lights, by the way. I love being blinded by Christmas lights. I'm not a Scrooge. Those giant inflatable things, don't make your yard look like TPO kids. Please and thank you.
All right, so if an inflatable gets deflated, we're not going to blame Mitch Wilson.
We're not gonna
but if
blame
he
him.
drives by and doesn't see it, it might be more pleasant on his eyes. Is this true?
That would absolutely be correct. It's subtle suggestions. It's not like I'm making the best fashion choices here all the time either.
We're going to go rent a big, giant inflatable Frosty and put
Stick
right
it
on
right on
Mitch's
his
front.
lawn.
Yeah, for sure we will. And it will say, Merry Christmas from Mitch Wilson. No, he
There's
doesn't
still
like
time,
that.
or next week. It's all good. I would love to see that. It would make me laugh, and I'd swiftly take it down. So on to the next one. I got one here that's a little spicier. Yeah, I'm good at couching this in the. Yeah, okay, there you go. I was wondering what you're doing. It's like, hang on, Mitch. No, it's the spicy with the mic. Okay, I'm used to this on the radio because we'd be talking about things like there's certain clubs in New York City where certain people got together to do certain activities during COVID. I called them cuddle parties, but you guys can fill in the blanks on that. Right. So a Grand Haven couple will have to pay for disposing of their son's adult magazine collection. David Working, 42. Moved back with his parents' house. Apparently not doing too much of the working part. He's the sewer, and it's, quote, a trove of adult magazines and an array of cuddle toys. According to U.S. District Judge Paul Maloney in Kalamazoo, which I had to include in there because that's a town name. It's got 75,000 people in it. Michigan.
It really is?
Yeah, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo.
I learned that today. He contends that the damages are about $25,000. Quote, the case wasn't just about a guy and his dirty magazines. This was a collection of often irreplaceable property. So what happened is he divorced, moved home. He got an email from his father saying, don't worry about the smut you sent over. I threw it out for you, at which point the legal dispute started. Quote, parents had kept some materials described as the worst of the worst in a safety deposit box, concerned it could be illegal. I don't think we even want to open that safety deposit box. We'll just let your speculation, imaginations run wild. But I got to ask you guys, haven't grown up, haven't had parents. Wait, I'm not touching on a third rail, right? Like you guys both grew up with the parents?
Yes,
okay.
we're good.
There
we're
you
good
go.
so far.
Well, you run into that sometimes. You're like, oh, when you were growing up, yeah, my dad died. Anyways, so you guys must have had some form of debaucherous material, maybe underneath your bed at some point in time. Do you ever have a point? It doesn't have to be the smut we were talking about. Could be different consumables or whatever. Do you ever get one of your stashes taken away?
Yeah, for sure. Like, actually, we talked about this on a previous podcast. I told Kinsman, we as a younger adults, I guess. I don't know what the age bracket was, but we would build tree forts specifically to stash our Playboy magazines in there. Of course, we were just looking for the advertisements, right?
That's right.
Right, Mom? And, my parents were curious to see how the building of the fort was going, came in, found stuff splattered on the walls, and they weren't Pokemon posters. So they saw that, and the Tree Fort Club was officially disembolished.
Freezing, JB. Freezing.
There we
they
go.
saw stuff splattered on the walls.
Freezing.
We're talking about this particular subject. You
Yeah.
want to say there was magazines and posters up.
Yeah.
Stuff splattered on the walls, nondescript.
Oh,
Okay.
right. Yeah. Fair enough. There wasn't any splattering. There was a lot of pinning and looking.
There was a smattering of smut
Yes.
on the walls.
There we go. So, yes, you kids or what?
No, nothing, too different from you guys. Obviously, back where I would try to, to tour the magazines. You'd get it from your buddy's place, you take it home, and, we used to take the actual cover off and replace it with, Mad Magazine. Remember the Mad Magazine?
Oh, yeah.
And it would look like a Mad Magazine.
The old bait and switch.
When you open it up, it was really a Mad Magazine.
Yeah, it really would. And I love how you said...
I don't think my parents ever found them out, though.
You said touring the magazine. Such a classy word. Today on Monday at 2 o'clock, we're going to check out pages 1 to 9. Conclude the tour tomorrow by blasting right to the middle centerfold.
This is the Pornographic Review with
Yeah.
Mark Kinsman.
So, yes, I guess we've all experienced something like this, not to the degree of the story you presented us, Mitch, but we can relate somehow.
Well, they're pretty similar magazines. Mad Magazine and the magazine you're talking about, they both had the center fold for the one, and remember the Mad Magazines where you actually folded the page and it
Right.
would create an image.
Yes.
So, see?
But one had a
I
nicer
think the
image.
illusion worked because I was never caught.
But one image in one magazine was nicer than the other image.
It was.
Yes. I'm talking about the Mad Magazine.
Are you thinking
Yeah, freak.
about the Mad Magazine?
Yeah, freakins. All right, what else you got, Mitch?
All right, I like to end on a thing I called headlines because sometimes you dig into the details of the stories, but the headlines have hit the important notes. So with the caveat ahead of time, there are additional details to all these stories, but here we go. Rapid fire. Feel free to make your commentary as you see fit. Man filmed naked rollerblading on highway in Columbus is still a mystery. You guys catch this video this week? It went pretty
saw
viral.
it. I
Yeah,
saw
he's got
it
a panda
online,
hat on,
yeah.
and he's It's as naked as they say. There's no sock or nothing, so viewer discretion is advised.
I did not see this. How did I miss this?
Probably because you don't waste as much time on the internet as Mark and I do. But
Fair enough.
Tesla Cybertruck Hot Wheel toy ships late, just like the Tesla trucks in real life. Now, have you ever seen a Tesla in Timmins?
I haven't seen a Tesla, no.
I think I've seen one. You go up to the Beverly Hills at the top of top of Jubilee there or whatever. There's that one Beverly Hills hill singular.
In Beverly Hills. Yeah, okay. Like you're meaning like a high-end area? Is this what you're telling me?
Yeah, this is like this is the Beverly Hill of
Okay.
Timmins.
The bigger houses of
singular.
the city?
Yeah, the nicest,
Mitch,
biggest kind of thing. I feel like I've seen a Tesla driving around, but who cares, right? Okay, Kentucky mail carrier encounters axe-wielding dog on his route, and I kept this one because it made me think of Ranger. He's actually, you see the picture, he's got the, dogs carrying a stick, but he's got an axe. It's kind of a cute Christmas story, but I can picture, like, what could Ranger pick up? I feel like he could wield a broadsword out of his chums.
What couldn't Ranger pick up?
That's a better question.
Talking about these Great Danes that Jamie has, I think your dog could pick up anything. When I first actually went to Jamie's to film one of the videos for this podcast, wondered why everything was about 5 feet off the ground, and it's because of the Great Dane. Picks up everything.
Maybe that's the moving thing from your horoscope. Ranger's going to pick up the house and bring it out to the middle.
He's
King
there
Street.
alone right now, probably planning my revenge. But Mitch's story here reminds me of a Florida man story. And if you Google Florida man and add your first name, it makes it look like you did this story. It sounds very... Just do it. I can't describe
Just try it.
it. Anyway, so the best one I read was Florida man kills family with happiness. Then when you read the descriptor, it's like Florida man picked up his machete, called happiness, and killed a family. So it wasn't as positive as the title led us to believe. Not very Christmas-orientated, but nonetheless, the Florida man stories live on.
Man, journalists suck sometimes with the thing. That the Spicy Magazine thing, the headline for that was... Kid sues parents after his mom throws away his best porno mag, like the Beastie Boys line. And it made me roll my eyes. But I always appreciate a good reference.
The internet's the worst for this because you often get a good title, then you go click on the story, and it's like 7,400 ads. And you can't really click to the content you wanted to get to. Have you guys seen these before?
Yeah, this is every news site in the current year. Yeah,
So it exists
It says,
everywhere.
look at this ginormous mansion, or, Tiger Woods has this in his house, and then you're clicking all 75 ads. There's never that picture that you actually want to see in the ad.
Oh, you mean the real clickbaity ones? You have the regular news site, which is already
Why
littered
can't
with
you just
ads.
put them all on a scroll so we can scroll down, right?
You cannot believe what they look like now, but you never find out.
But if you even went through all the clicks, which I have done, the one story that you actually wanted, because of that initial headline, is never in the clickbait ads.
Awesome. We know it. We know the internet, Kinsman. We know it.
It's again, with the stereotypes down the line, you see something like that on the side of the internet, you know what you're clicking into. And if you don't at this point, you must have just signed up. One, I guess, on theme, since we've just full-on turned this into PG-13, strip clubs can stay open during COVID due to freedom of speech protection, San Diego judge rules.
Oh, so in the States, we want to say, right?
Well, yeah, San Diego, California, whatever. And I guess specifically in the city of San Diego, they were talking about shutting down the strip clubs, and they said, no,
Not San
these
Diego,
women have
Manitoba.
families to feed.
Right.
I don't know, freedom of speech with the strip club? Can you guys put that two and two together?
Two loonies and two loonies? Wouldn't that be a... No, okay.
Do they appreciate that?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, where do you carry it? You just have a bag with them.
I don't even know.
You got to squeeze the butt cheeks for the loonies.
I swear to God, I don't even know what you would do with loonies in a place like that. But
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, so what else? Is that it?
Yeah,
Mitch, or
we
what?
got one final one,
got
which
one.
is a very Canadian one to actually end off with. I'm sorry I couldn't get anything from Timmins. Nothing wacky enough happened here in the past week, unless I missed it, and in which case I apologize sincerely. But we go to Sarnia, Ontario. Suspects break into the wrong house, apologize to victims, and offer to pay for damages. So, yeah, he comes in wielding a hammer and says, all right, you owe us money, and then eventually it's like, oh, sorry, hey,
wrong
I thought
house.
this is old man McSheffrey's house.
Right.
It's real bad, my bad. Back out, get on the skidoo, drive away. They're going to be charged with a bunch of crazy
Right.
stuff. You're not getting away with that one. They tried to apologize, but you can't unring that bell or unbreak that front
What did
door.
they used to say at the end of Scooby-Doo, the bad guy? I would have got away with this if it wasn't for you mangling kids.
Mangling kids.
Mangling
We got away
kids.
with it, too, if you had to put the right address on the page.
Okay, Kinsman, we got 2 more bullet points, and then you have
What's
to
that?
wish everyone Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Here's a quick one. Can you sing, yes or no?
Not good. I can sing. Everybody can sing. Is it good? That's the next question.
Because we are going to sing people out.
Okay.
Once we get past the last bullet points, you're going to have to do that. I guess.
right.
What are we going to sing? Jingle Bells, or we wish you a Merry Christmas?
We can do Jingle Bells, maybe?
I think we're going to fail. Okay, and final one. Got to ask you guys a question.
What's that?
What does the term keeping up with the Joneses mean? And I'm going to go to Mitch first. I bet you he knows this.
I love the Borat line on this one. It's I forget the exact one, but he's like, oh, he got clock radio, I got iPod Touch. He got
One-upping.
yeah, exactly
You're trying
like
to
that.
stay up to par with your good old neighbors.
Right.
And what if you do have the Joneses?
Right.
Do you still keep up with the Joneses?
I don't know. My kids referenced it the other day, and I'm like, I might know what that means, but
What were they asking you to keep up with?
Well, they seen another podcast I was watching, and I was telling them I was going to try and do something better on this one, and they said, "Don't try and keep up with the Joneses." I'm like, what are they? Is that a compliment or an insult? I wasn't sure. Now that I asked my best friends, I think it was an insult.
No, it's not an insult at all. Not an insult at all. Don't worry about
Just
that.
means the
He's
Joneses are
he's
just a
saying be
smidge
your
higher.
own thing. Don't worry about your neighbor. Just keep going. Focus on this podcast, and judging by the work you guys do, I will say that you do exactly that. So there's the little wholesome note to end the Christmas.
Mitch
show
always
on
with the
just before
positivity.
You make me
Always.
sing or something. I don't know.
Just like
Maybe
the
I'm getting a phone
horoscopes.
call. I got to jump out of here before you start singing Jingle Bells.
You getting a phone call?
I think so. Yeah.
Mitch
if you
is
guys
getting
are
a phone
singing,
call?
that's my phone's ringing.
Yeah. All right. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and let's sing Jingle Bells and roll on
our way
out.
out. All right. So from the KINZ and Klomp podcast, and sometimes Mitch Wilson, from all of us here at TuneHub.ca, wishing you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Hopefully Santa's going to be great, and we're going to sing you out. Jamie, what are we going to do here?
How about just, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.